You don't want to always be researching what other people are doing.
True.
As a creative and as a business owner, it can get very, very toxic.
You're listening to the Shoot Your Shot podcast with Lindsay and Tim.
Welcome to the Shoot Your Shot podcast. My name is Timothy. This is Lindsay Coulter. We are professional wedding and portrait photographers located in Ontario, Canada, and we are here to help you. This is a radio call-in show, but it's a podcast. It's not hard. You send us your DMs, your voice notes, your text messages. If you have our phone number, I don't know why you would. You might. We're publicly listed. And we help you with your photography-based problems. We start every episode by rolling a magic 8-ball to answer one of our questions because everyone needs a higher power. You know, it can't just be us. We can't be top of the food chain. That'd be tragic.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
Can I get my hair to look as good as Tim's? Because hot damn, doesn't his hair look good, everybody?
Pretty good.
Everybody,
Thank
look
you.
at his hair.
Thank you.
It's giving Conan O'Brien circa the 2000s.
Should be so lucky.
Tim goes to his hairstylist. Tim, tell them what you ask your hairstylist.
Every time I go into C. Cagney, I'm like, well, recently at least, if she's watching, she can dispute this, but I say, give me the Conan O'Brien, and she's like, what is that? I'm like, we all know what Conan O'Brien looks like, but she wants more of a reference, you know, because I feel like there's different iterations of Conan O'Brien, but basically it's just the swoop. It's this. I want the swoop over top,
tall,
kind of the part, the high fade almost. You know what I mean? So far, she's doing a better job. She's nailing it.
It told me to ask again.
Ask again for getting hair like me.
Yeah. I can't have nice hair.
It is very manageable. I do not use.
It's really hard to read.
We're
almost going to need a new 8-ball soon. Like it's getting like
seasonal. You know, maybe we should ask.
We have dropped it a lot, so I think that's probably not helping our cause.
If you want to reach out to us on the Shoot Your Shot podcast on Instagram or TikTok with your questions, we'd love to answer them for you. What do you got, Lindsay?
Cannot predict now, unfortunately.
Not for us to know.
You know what? That's fine. I think Amber does a phenomenal job on my hair.
She does a great job. Your hair looks great.
I just don't think that like I could ever commit to having as much personality with my hair as you commit to. Like your hair is you. Whereas me, like I've gone through so many eras. I like actually think about what year something was based on what color my hair was or what length it was or whatever.
That's pretty common, I
I'm
think.
like, like that was like very 2016 of me. My hair was blonde for some reason.
Yeah, you had bangs. Yeah.
The bangs were not my best move, everybody.
Have you always had a center part, or is this recent?
I've always had a center part.
You like the center part?
No, I shouldn't say always. There were parts of my life where I had a side part. If you're watching or if you've just seen a picture of me ever, I have like quite the cowlick on the right side of my head, which that is new. And apparently that's like a hormonal thing that can change just like as you age, which it's really annoying because I've never
just noticing it now. That's wild.
Yeah, I've never had it and I like combat it. It drives me insane. Now people are going to be looking at it.
I was not supposed to cut to your camera too much.
I told Tim, please don't cut to my camera. I'm not feeling my appearance today.
I understand.
Some days you're just like, man, I know we've talked about this on previous episodes, but like, showing up to do a video podcast and I'm like, can we just riff? But like I have to look nice enough to be on camera.
There's a bit of effort here for you guys.
Tim literally washes his face and 5 minutes before the shoot he does this with his hair with some wax in it. To be fair, he does about like 45 more minutes of effort putting this whole set together before every show. So what he does to make this show look nice, I do to try to make myself look nice, and it just feels really oppressive.
That's the patriarchy for you, folks. We have a lovely question for one of our listeners. I think long time, first time. It feels like first time. This is Callie Conrad Photos. Okay, she says, I need advice. I'm going to be moving to a completely new state and effectively starting over with a completely new client base. I basically get all of my current work through word of mouth, so I am scared that I will be back at square one. Tips, advice? Help a girl out. And that's at Callie Conrad Photos. Callie Conrad, thank you so much for reaching out. We're excited. I saw this come across our Instagram DMs and I was like, I got a few points for this. This is a great question. Because I feel like whether you're starting out, you know, in a new city, a new town, new country, or you're just kind of starting over with like maybe a different way of photographing things or a different tier of client that you're going after, a lot of these tips will apply. So if you're new to photography, in a new area or just new in general, a lot of these tips are very helpful. If you're moving, like Callie here is, and you're mostly word of mouth, this will help you get outside your comfort zone a little bit and stretch your potential and get you more clients and couples that resonate with you. And if you're looking to just start over and like in a new year, new you want to like create a new sense of self in your community with the people you like to photograph, this will also help. I made some slides.
You made some
I was
slides.
inspired by the slides you made last week.
I'm so excited for this. Tim has just really been pulling so much more than his weight on this podcast lately, my friends. Callie, thanks so much for the message. That's really, really thoughtful of you to send this in to us. And we're happy that we can be the people that you go to when you have questions. And that's what we want to be. We want to be those people that you think of when you're like, damn, this is a big one for me. I'm going to ask Tim and Lindsay to help me unpack this. This is such a common thing that I'm so happy that we're discussing on the podcast, because I get messages like this all the time. I've seen this in our work that we were doing with Focal, with, photographers from all over the place that maybe are moving or are just struggling overall to get their work in front of clients. And it's tough. It is a struggle.
So for context for Callie, if you're listening and watching, she is an Atlanta-based photographer moving to Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Very different part of the country. Very different, like almost the opposite side of the whole continent. Is that right? Atlanta is Georgia, which is kind of north of Florida, and then Salt Lake
City.
City's like Utah, which is kind of like Middle Earth.
I do love mom talk, so this is perfect. This is right up my alley, in fact.
Yeah, man.
The first thing I want to say, Callie, is I think that you need to give yourself a little bit more confidence and a little bit more credit for who you are as a photographer. I know that you say that you basically get all of your current work through word of mouth. The first thing I want to say is that probably isn't true. I'm certain that you are not only getting your work through word of mouth. Maybe you're getting recurring clients. Maybe those clients are then seeing other people's stuff. And sure, maybe that's word of mouth. But I would say that is actually also just social proof that's already been built in. So you've already done that work.
I think maybe what she means, maybe if I can guess, is that a lot of you don't put a lot of money into advertising, is my guess. When you say word of mouth,
totally.
You mean
I agree with that. I think she's probably saying I'm not doing. Yeah. The other thing that I want to say, and I say this to everybody, because I've actually I had mentorship sessions with another photographer that went through this exact thing.
Okay.
And the other thing I want to say is, you did this once before with zero skills.
True.
Right? So you did this once before when you were also building up a completely new skill set.
Yes.
So imagine what you can do when you have the skill set and you have a portfolio and you have great work already, but you can now just focus on the marketing side of things.
Yeah.
Where before, when we all start out, we have to figure out how to be good photographers and how to be good business owners.
Yeah.
You already know how to be a good photographer, so you can just let that ride. That's wonderful.
Leads to slide number 1 perfectly,
so let's
Lindsay.
go.
Slide number 1 reads, leverage your current portfolio and social proof. What does this mean? It means update your portfolio to highlight the emotional, timeless style you bring to wedding photography. Emphasize the photos that showcase your ability to capture authentic moments. What do we mean by that? We mean that maybe you don't have necessarily photos of your local area, of venues, of spaces that are familiar to people who will be buying in your market, but you have images in your portfolio. I guarantee it, just by looking at your Instagram recently. You have images that represent who you are and what you like to photograph, and people resonate more often with that than maybe a location. Some people will be like, "Oh, they shot here before. Cool, great,
helpful." Yeah.
But if they like the style and the approach that you bring to a wedding or a portrait day, they're more likely to hire you from that, I feel.
What kind of work, does Callie do weddings, portraits primarily, all over the place? What kind of work is Callie doing? Because I feel like that'll help
She does a lot of family and some wedding stuff.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Here you go.
Let's take a look.
Very human being focused, which is lovely.
Callie, your work is beautiful.
Yeah, and then you can also, like you said, you have word of mouth. So the point 2 on this, leveraging your current portfolio and social proof, is to use testimonials and reviews from past clients. People on your website and social media, people you worked with before, just update all the things on your website to include any 5-star reviews you have from people. Even if they're from a different location, it's all about building trust and credibility with the people who are going to be looking at your portfolio in Salt Lake City and wanting to hire you from that. So.
And Callie, first of all, a few kudos that I want to give to you on your social media. Roasting people's social media is one of my absolute favorite things to do, and I promise I'm not going to do that to you live on the show. I know that's not what you asked for. So I'm going to give you the kudos that are well earned.
Hit it.
Number 1, in your bio, you have your location and where you will be going. So it's very easy for us to know that you are currently in Atlanta and you will soon be in Salt Lake City.
Yes.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
It specifically says Georgia wedding and family photographer in your bio. It says that you do photo and video, and then you have a link to your work. phenomenal. This is a masterclass. You've done so well.
Yeah.
And then you have a pin post that says, "Hi, I'm Callie. Nice to meet you." Shares a little bit about who you are. Who you are is not going to change regardless of the state you're in. So that's wonderful. And I love that you shared that information, because I think, you bringing in some of your personality and your interests and, your religious beliefs, those kinds of things are going to translate from Georgia to Salt Lake City also,
Absolutely.
which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I think, making sure that people know who you are, that's not a geographical issue.
No, so many things about this move are going to change. You're going to change probably friends, coffee shops, obviously, a different one you're going to go to. Your surroundings will change, but not necessarily you as a person. Like, you're going to be the same person. You'll evolve from this experience and this move and the new clients you get. But like Lindsay said, like, you're going to still remain the same human being.
And I think, so much of what our clients hire us for, of course, is the work that we provide and our skill set and perhaps your experience working at a certain location or venue or whatever. That's great. But what they truly are hiring us for is the connection that they have. And that's wonderful that they're going to be able to connect with you based on knowing who you are and looking at your past work. I think leveraging your current portfolio and that social proof is huge, because you are not starting out from day one. You're not a photographer with 0 reviews and 0 past clients. So perhaps part of your, I like this, Tim, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Perhaps part of your moving experience is reaching out to your past clients, letting them know by email. Hopefully you have like a little newsletter, an email, marketing strategy that you can use, but reach out to your past clients and let them know, hey, first of all, I'm moving to Salt Lake City. So if you happen to know anyone there, please feel free to pass along my name.
Yeah.
More word of mouth doesn't hurt. I know the country is large, but it's not that large.
No.
And then say, I have a huge ask for you. You've always been so good to me as clients, and I've really loved working with you. The only thing that would matter to me right now is if you could leave me a really great review.
Yeah.
Right. And if you can leverage some of that by putting those reviews on your website. I didn't look at your website. We don't have time for that. Sorry. I didn't roast your website either, which you should be happy about. But leave those reviews on your Instagram, leave those reviews on your website, and then obviously have them on Google. So have them in multiple places so that when new people do look you up, they are finding all
a
of
baseline.
They're finding all of these wonderful reviews from your past clients.
Yeah.
I found and discovered the most incredible service. It's called Social Templates.
Social templates.
If you have noticed that I've been putting out an awful lot of reels this year, yes, I have been. I'm sure you all know that the only way for you to get your images in front of clients now is by making them into videos. That's fun. Angela over at Social Templates and her team, they have put together the most amazing product. It's built right in Instagram. So you don't have to have other apps. You just sign up for a subscription, and every single week she's putting out Reels templates. They're always trending audio. They are focused specifically for photographers, whether you're a family photographer, a wedding photographer, a real estate photographer, she has you covered. And all you have to do is simply drag and drop some BTS videos that I'm sure you have in your phone, as well as maybe 10 to 20 of your favorite photos from the session, and it's automatically synced with trending audio. This year for Black Friday, Social Templates is doing something absolutely wild. You sign up before Black Friday using the code Lindsay, you will get 25% off of the monthly or annual subscription forever.
Whoa.
Until you stop using the service, which will be never. 25% off the monthly or annual subscription. And the annual subscription is already discounted.
Whoa.
So when you put the 25% on, it works out to be less than $19 a month. To subscribe, you can head to the description in this video, or you can go to socialtemplates.co on Instagram and use their link to subscribe, but make sure that you use the code Lindsay to get that fat discount.
Socialtemplates.co, code Lindsay. Let's go to point number 2, research the local market. This is probably a little bit more obvious for you, Callie, and for everyone watching. Look into popular wedding venues, planners, and local photography offerings to understand what resonates with couples in this area. People, they rely on friends for a lot of stuff like weddings and portraits. They want to know what is offered in their local area, and they'll go with that. So you need to kind of adapt a little bit to the local area, even just in understanding what's offered. Maybe it's like they only deliver a certain number of prints. That's what people expect. Maybe they're heavy on album printing. Maybe they're heavy on just digital galleries.
It's a great
Maybe
point.
it's like everyone just does minis in the area. You know what I mean? You can either go with that flow or go against it. But just knowing what is in the area and what's currently offered, huge leg up. You can research all this stuff through Google searches for vendors, combing through following lists of people who are like big in the area. And also a lot of wedding venues have preferred vendor lists. Like
Yeah.
if it's a wedding venue, they'll have a list of people, and typically people on those lists who are wedding vendors are usually the top of the market for that area.
You know what's really interesting, Tim?
What's that?
I think we talk about, not being too obsessed with other people in your area. Once you're in an area,
Yeah.
it's not really healthy for us to be doing a Google search
No.
on top wedding photographers in my area, unless you are at the top and then you just want to inhale your own fumes. That's such a bad joke. We're not. I don't think. I know I'm on top page 1. I think you are too, probably, but I don't. Top is such a relative term. I digress. You don't want to always be researching what other people are doing.
True.
As a creative and as a business owner, it can
Very
get
true.
very, very toxic.
Yeah.
But right now, listen, we're
Dig
giving you the carte blanche. Is that the right term?
I think so.
To just go for it and do
Microfiche.
all of the research.
Yeah.
Here's what I would do.
for
I
it.
would, first of all, do a really quick Google search. So Salt Lake City, I would literally do a best photographers in my area, best photographers in Salt Lake City. Unfortunately, doing that search when you're not in the area will give you different results than doing the search once you live there.
True.
Because it's going to give you results like a tourist versus
Yeah.
giving you results like a local. So if
So
you are
maybe
actually
do
going
both.
to visit,
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe you do it in incognito mode or something on Google, just so that it's not relating it to you.
I think
as
it still
like the
will though.
person.
Maybe before.
I think location based, it's still going to, because it's going to have your location on
It
Wi-Fi.
will have your
right?
IP address at least. So I would say maybe just if you haven't moved already, do the search now, do some research beforehand, and then compare that to the research you do once you're established.
Yeah,
with
or
a
if you have a
network
friend
connection
that
in
lives
the
there,
area.
somebody
Yeah.
that you can ask, hey, can you do a quick search? So
Yeah.
search top photographers in your area, best photographers near me. And then actually, like, I'm a big data fan,
Okay.
huge fan of data.
Love the data.
Go and create a spreadsheet and find out what are they doing, what's interesting about them, what holes might be there in the market. Maybe there are none, and that's okay. Like, there's always enough room for more people, truthfully, and anybody that tells you otherwise is wrong.
Crazy.
You should look up their following count. Maybe it does or doesn't matter, because maybe some of the most top booked people in that area have 3,000 followers.
Yeah.
Really, it's not always critical, but I would look at it. I would look at how engaged they are on social media. Are they posting regularly? Are they not?
Yeah.
All of the traditional things that, like, we've been telling you and other educators have been telling you for years, this is your moment to be like, oh, if someone in Salt Lake City has gotten lazy, unfortunately for them,
I'm coming.
guess who's coming in? Callie's coming in.
This is
right?
riding to town.
And Taylor said this to me when I first started out. He said, if you really tried, within 1 year, you could exceed me in business. Because he had been at it for so long that it's not that he had gotten stagnant or anything like that. It's just he didn't have the fire into his ass of somebody who is brand new into the industry and looking at things in a new way and all of that. So if we can give Callie the same opportunity to say, hey, Callie, like, you have all of these photographers who maybe have been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Maybe you have huge client bases.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what they don't have is new client bases? So you can come in with the new energy of this new person here, looking at things with clear eyes, get all of the data. The more information, the better.
Yes.
And then take a step back and be like, what can I do to serve this area?
Yeah.
How can I serve this area in a way that's not currently happening?
And a lot of that starts with connecting with vendors, which is the next slide. Network with local vendors and build relationships. So the people you look up, the people you Google, the people you obsess over for a very short period of time just to do research, connect with them, reach out to them, whether it's a DM, whether it's going to their local brick and mortar shop if they're a florist or a planner or something like that. Connect with them and say, hey, can I buy you coffee? Can I pick your brain? I'm new to the area. This is what I'm about. I would love to, work with you on something. Maybe doing if you have another workshop coming up, love to attend. If you want to do like a styled shoot, maybe we could do something like that, like connect with them in a real way. In person makes such a huge difference as opposed to DM. Like DM's fine to be like an intro, but like right away, try and connect in person, because all the connections I've made in real human form have been the strongest for my career and like friendships.
And I think making it genuine, that's another thing that's really important. Like you said, send a little DM here and there, engage with their work, tell them it looks great. Like, and in a genuine way, don't go and spam them on 10 of their most recent photos. That's so obvious and so very apparent.
Real estate agents do that.
You literally
it's the worst.
follow them. And then within seconds of following them, then you like 10 of their photos, and then you send them a DM being like, hey, love your work, whatever.
Hey.
It's very clear and very transparent what you're trying to do
It's also
there.
weird. I don't know. I
It's
get
just
creeped
weird
out by
behavior.
that stuff.
I think act like you would in normal life. You would meet
Yeah.
somebody, you might clock them from across the room at a cocktail party and say, hey, that looks like a person I would like to get to know.
Mhm.
Actually, in Utah, it would be a soda party,
Oh,
Tim. They're
okay.
really big on soda.
I don't know anything about SLC.
Really big on soda. So
Okay.
I hope that you're big on soda too, Callie. You could watch The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, but I would encourage you against it. I went down that rabbit hole. But you might see somebody at a gathering, an after church social, something like that. Also,
Yeah.
church is a really good community. So if you
Oh,
are religious and you
about
want to
that.
go to church, like
Yeah.
go to church and meet some people there and just tell them who you are and what you're up to.
Yeah.
Generally, my experience, church people are very welcoming and very supportive and want to
So you thrive.
they want to see you be successful. And they're like, oh, that's nice. How can we support this new person in our
Community.
church community?
Yeah.
We can help by sharing more information. Act like you would in person on social media. So
Yes.
act like a normal human being that sees somebody from across the room at a social event, and you're like, hey, I'm not going to come in so hot and meet them and say, hi, I'm Callie, and I love your hair, your nails, your earrings, your shirt.
Mhm.
Where do you live? What do you do? I would love to do that. Oh, you're a photographer? That's so cool.
Where
I'm
do
a
you live?
photographer too.
Yes.
Who are your top sales revenue sources? How do I get to know them? Like, that's
Yeah.
so insane. But that's the kind of communication that I get a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll
it's
bet.
really wild, the messages that people send.
Do you get more people asking from you or asking to give you things? Because I feel
From.
like
Always.
that's always the worst, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, like, and in
Hey, can I second shoot for you? Hey.
yes, which feels like they think that they're offering me
They're
something,
not.
but that's not an offer.
No.
If you have no portfolio and no experience, that's an ask, not an
Yeah.
offer, right?
Yeah.
So an offer would be, hey, I don't have any experience in this, but I can create you good social media posts, or
Yeah.
I would love to help you with your marketing, or just come and even film BTS for you
Yes.
if that's helpful.
That's probably the easiest way to do it. I was going to say maybe
and
they can
that's
offer
what
you
our
a
friend
portrait
Chris
shoot, but
Tejas did.
exactly. Chris Tejas, if you don't know him, you should. He's wonderful. Friend of the podcast. He's been on through the questions he asks here. And he came into our radar as the three of us, Lindsay, myself, and Taylor. Last October?
Yeah, Canada
almost a
Photo
year
Summit
ago.
is when I think we first met. Like,
Yeah, like a
officially,
year ago.
we had met because he worked at the coffee shop, like kitty corner to our studio.
we
So
miss.
we had met
Yeah.
there
Mhm.
previously in a totally different capacity. He used to own and run coffee shops.
Yeah.
And then he decided to make a pivot last fall, and he came to our conference, Canada Photo Summit.
Yep.
And
And he's always been interested in photography. He did it as kind of a hobby, and he decided that, he was maybe pivoting out of the coffee world because he's run coffee shops. He's done, supply and demand. I don't know, export, import. Sounds like a drug runner, but he's not. For coffee machines all around the world. So he was kind of a big name in the coffee world. He said, I don't love this anymore. I love photography. Let's get into that. He met up with us. He connected with people. He was a genuinely good person who didn't ask to take things. He offered things. It's like, do you need help with a BTS? Do you need help with a second? Do you need help with a third on a wedding day?
Yeah.
What can I do to learn from you and, become better by being around you, but not in a way that takes from you? He's not a energy vampire. He's like a giver of,
And he came in very chill.
Yeah,
Came
fresh
to our
energy.
Conference,
very chill.
Came up to me at the end of the conference and said, hey, like, your talk really resonated with me.
Mhm.
Really felt like I'm empowered and I'm feeling like, excited about this. And that
Yeah.
was nice,
Less than a year.
Followed up later.
Yeah.
Now he's second shooting for us.
Where is he right now?
He's in Iceland shooting with our friend Magic.
Magic wedding photographer. He's in Iceland doing BTS, Ford Magic's first inaugural, incredibly successful workshop. And it's just like, man, in a year, you've gone from, just attending a
And
workshop.
I think he was feeling pretty down on himself. Like,
think
I don't know
so.
if this is possible. It's such an oversaturated market.
Yeah.
He even said, like, I've got like some of the best photographers in like the province / country living in my city. So am I seriously going to try to compete? And I was like, well, it's not really competition. Just like come join, And I thought that was, it was nice to see that he was being humble, and he's saying, like, he's not coming in like one of these guys, we all know them, that come in and they're like, work so hard until your idols become your rivals. Not that anybody's ever said that to me or
Yikes,
anything.
dude. And
That
that's
would
just a
be
mindset.
crazy.
That's just a scarcity mindset. So
Totally.
I think, Callie, for you and anyone listening who wants to break into a new market or try something different, look for people who are gracious and understand that it's not a zero-sum game. Like they're not here to take the entire market from you. They're not looking at you as a threat. They look at you as, someone who they can also learn from. Because I've learned so much from Chris, like just how to be a calmer human being. Like he's such a genuinely wonderful person to be around, and it's just nice and it calms me down on shoots. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's working for me. He works at the chapel. When I can't do weddings, he'll take the weddings I can't do, and he's doing some commercial work for me on Tuesday. So like,
I love that.
So within a year, he's gone from coffee shop purveyor to internationally photographing style shoots and weddings and doing BTS for top photographers in the world. Which
one
is
of
incredible.
the other things that I think that he's done really well.
What's that?
And I think every photographer, when they do this, it goes well for them. Is don't blow smoke. Don't say that you're doing, an insane amount of work and that you're booked up like crazy, because then people will not look to you as the person that might need a hand or a referral when they have it to give. They're like, oh, well, that person's booked up.
Can't be helped.
So don't let your ego get in the way.
Yeah.
When you land yourself in a new place or you are meeting new people. We hear it a lot from other creatives that, they ask us how we're doing. And we're like, oh, that's like, we're doing well. Business is good. I'll be the first person to say when business is or is not good if I feel like the person is like a comfortable, safe person for me to chat with about that, or there's a reason to. But when people lie and let their ego get in the way and they say things like, oh, this is crazy, never been better, I'm so booked. And then you see them running like a special for $99 sessions. You're like, this isn't conveying.
This is the action of a person
and
who's
it's not
booked.
Authentic. And now I'm feeling like you were lying to me, because now we're not friends. Now I feel like you see me as a competitor that you just wanted to do that with.
Flex on.
But the photographers that are honest and are genuine and say, I'm actually struggling with XYZ, if you say it to the right people and they are people that you can trust, and that we're not going to go around being like, oh, did you hear so-and-so is really struggling this year? If you say it to a person that you can trust and you have if you have some rapport with, they will probably want to help you.
Yeah,
they will probably want to send some referrals your way or ship some work your way. And it's just nice to know when people are actually looking for work. There's a reason why LinkedIn does the like open for work. If you were literally putting a close sign on yourself as a brand and as a business, no one's going to try to help you.
I haven't been on LinkedIn in such a long time.
I've been really cruising on LinkedIn.
Is it nice?
Lately.
Is it fun?
They just have like a thing that you can put over your profile photo that says open to work.
Oh. Okay, so people can headhunters and stuff.
So that if you are actually open to work, people know that, right?
That's cool.
So if you are in a position either where
That's
that
new?
you're going to be looking, I don't know if it's new.
Okay, I've never seen. I mean, I've been on like 10 years, so I have no idea.
I mean, it's certainly new in the last 10 years.
Okay,
I think probably a lot of features are new in the last 10 years, but I've just been on there because I'm trying to, as you and I are both trying to ramp up the commercial side of our businesses. And we're like, where do commercial clients lie? Unfortunately, probably not on IG. So I've just been popping up over on there trying to.
That's good inspiration. I have to check it out.
Beef up my LinkedIn.
Okay. That leads us to the next slide, Lindsay. Have you read these? I feel like you're
no, I haven't at all.
Cognitively learning about them.
No, I just think you and I are connected with our brains.
Same
we have one brain
wavelength.
cell.
Next slide says be flexible and adapt. This is kind of a two-parter. I wanted to squish these two ideas into one. I wanted to make less than 12 slides, and we've only done 5, so
nice.
5 in total. Be flexible and adapt. Be open and willing to photograph different venues and locations that you're used to. It may take some time to get back to shooting at the type of venues you're used to in Atlanta. Try to get into destinations, photography or elopements, which is something we did. We pivoted hard in 2020 just because of regulations, and we weren't able to shoot the types of weddings we were used to from the past 5-6 years or 4 years for me because lockdown. So we pivoted to doing elopement style weddings of like 10 people or less, backyard weddings, helicopter elopements, which is rare, but stuff on a boat. Like we just pivoted hard to see what works.
I think there's a question for people when they're starting out as to like, should I offer discounted sessions when I get started, right?
Yeah.
And essentially you are getting started again. So should you offer something at a lower cost so that you can build a portfolio in some of these locations, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing I would say is families and branding, like the smaller fish, maybe it's not a $5,000 or $7,000 day for you.
Yes.
But they build your network really, really well.
Really
so
quickly.
if you can do 10 family shoots in a month, that's 40 people potentially, right? And there's some really large families in Utah. I know a lot about Utah.
You know a
it's
lot
really
about Utah,
weird.
but also like from family and commercial shoots. that maybe are smaller fish. The people who watch these things are people, and people experience weddings, experience love, and experience a need for these photographs to happen. So
they post those photos.
They're their own marketing, which is kind of lovely. Kind of ripple on the pond.
And also it's just nice it's nice to have some money coming in so that you can, if weddings are your big fish, that's what, if you want to do both, just presuming based on your work
portfolio,
that you would like to do both. Maybe focus on the smaller fish just to get started, just to get some cash flow coming in. Obviously, that's really important to
and to feel good about yourself.
Paid.
Like if you're just sitting around all day, you're gonna feel like exhausted from doing nothing, and that can feel like a weight on you that's psychologically and emotionally draining. So to be out there doing work, to be like making sales and making things actually happen, will feel good. It'll create momentum in yourself to be, more open and just more out in the world and creating stuff. So momentum, keep busy. That's a good thing.
And then I think, once you do meet some people, whether it be through families or through the church or whatever, and you can find perhaps a couple who might be interested in having some photos done, just offer it up for free. So back to the question of whether or not you should or should not discount yourself to build a portfolio. My feeling on that is always yes, a portfolio is the most important part of being a photographer. You need to have people dressed in wedding clothes in the locations that you're hoping to book in order to book those locations. That's generally why, with Focal, we were doing destination elopement type sets in Banff. If you wanted to be a mountain wedding photographer, you need photos in the mountains,
it's what it is.
It's just unfortunately how it goes. So maybe you set up your own styled shoot. Maybe you join a workshop in your area. I'm sure that they exist. I'm sure photographers are already setting these up for you in that area. So either you pay to build your portfolio, or you pay a client, or you pay them in photos.
And then once you have these photos and you have these styled shoots in the area, make sure you're updating your SEO and your blog posts and your gallery to reflect the images in the area, because people will be searching for you through Google. It's still the number one thing. Although I feel like TikTok's probably surpassed. What do you think? What do you think the number one search engine is for finding photographers in people's local area? You think it's still the Googs?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I think it's a combo. It's really dependent on the clientele that you're hoping to get. For me, it's still certainly Google and Instagram because my clients are not 21. Hard to say. That's going to come from some research.
That's going to be research on the floor.
I'm going to guess, based on the knowledge that I have about Salt Lake City, Utah, it's going to be a pretty young demographic that are booking wedding photographers. So, I would probably say TikTok and Google would be important.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to say around just pricing in general.
Let's go to it.
And I think that you're going to talk about this actually.
Let's do it now. Let's cut ahead.
Okay.
This is the slides time.
Oh,
Lindsay's ahead of the 8 ball
How am
again.
I doing this?
You're
This is
so good at
funny.
this.
Okay.
This next slide says run a promotion or limited time offer. So consider offering a limited time discount or a special package for couples looking to you as their photographer in the new area. You can encourage early bookings and help you establish a presence quickly. Point number 2 on this is collaborate with other vendors on giveaways or contests that involved free or discounted services. This can create a buzz and introduce you to a wider audience. Again, Lindsay mentioned most of this already because she's, again, above and she's a kind of a precog.
No, I didn't mention this, but this is where I was going to go, so it's really funny,
perfect.
and I'm
Good.
sorry that it looks like I'm
This
just
is
stealing
great.
your show here.
This is the show for both of us.
Well, I think that's perfect. So what Tim said, create a limited time discount.
Yeah.
The most important thing that is, to be said there is that the discount is not just a, hey, my name is Lindsay. I'm living in this new city now and I'm super cheap.
Who wants it?
That's not, it's not the vibe.
Yeah.
The vibe is to say my typical rate is this, but because I'm coming here as a new photographer in this area, I'm offering a very limited time offer as an introductory price. An introductory price is the wording that I would use for this every time. And I used it when I was starting out trying to do branding photos. An introductory rate means this is a limited time.
Yes.
It's only going to be offered until I feel like I have enough of a portfolio to bring my prices up to where they typically are when I'm shooting in a normal area.
What a great deal for people. People love a deal.
And tell them what the original price would be so that they feel like, oh, this is a really good photographer.
It's value.
Because if they just see that you're $99, they will equate the value to the price, right? So if you say it's, and I don't think you should be $99. Let me just clarify. I actually don't know what Callie's charging, but let me just make an assumption, Callie, that you're charging $500 for a family session. If you're charging $500 for a family session now in Georgia, I think that, you could reasonably say $200, $250 even for your family sessions, just to really get some first ones moving in your new area. And I think that by clarifying to people what those things cost, they understand what it should have cost, which they will equate value to. If you just say you're $250, they will put you in the bucket with the $250 photographers. And it is hard to get out of that bucket for sure, especially when you establish clients at that price.
Yeah.
If you don't tell them that that's out of the norm, they will not come back to you 6 months from now or a year from now wanting new photos when they find out that you're now double or triple the price. They'd be like, why?
They need to know
crazy.
that it's a discounted price for the value that you offer. So super important.
Tim, how was your fall this year?
It was wonderful. It was great.
Tell me more, because I hear a lot of people, they got a huge editing backlog.
A lot of you are probably struggling out there. Not me. I use Imagine.
Oh, aren't you perfect? I wish I could use Imagine.
Lindsay, like you at home listening, you can also use Imagine. In fact, you do use Imagine. I know this about you. Link is in the description of this episode. You can get 1,500 free edits. That's like a free wedding to edit. They do auto culling, cropping, skin smoothing, teeth whitening. They use presets that you've created as a photographer to make the editing process streamlined and easy.
And it's like 5 cents an image after that 1,500. It's really, really cheap, you guys. There is no better way to edit your photos faster and in the most consistent way possible than Imagine.
Check out the link in the description below to get 1,500 free edits. Try it out. Make sure it works for you. You're not going to look back. It's going to be the greatest thing of your editing career.
Happy holidays to you.
Happy holidays, everyone. Back to the episode. Collaborate with other vendors on giveaways or contests that involve free or discounted services. This can create buzz, introduce you to a wider audience. So again, leveraging some of the relationships you built in, like, I think it was slide 2 or 3, where you network and reach out to other vendors in your area. Create something with them. We've done this with people. We've created little contests and collaborations with other vendors who are like, hey, you book this person, you get this thing as well. It's like a neat little thing. Whether it's for an engagement shoot or a family session, you get like nice florals. That could be a nice thing, Create little experiences for people using the relationships you've leveraged from other vendors in your area. And it just creates a lovely word of mouth. You get some social content from it. You feel connected to your community. People see that. They love it. They want more of it.
And think creatively about the types of vendors that you might want to pair up with. I've done collabs with all different kinds of brands, and the most successful one for me so far has been a local facial spa.
Wild.
Yeah, so it doesn't necessarily have to be, Pure and Simple in
nice.
Kitchener-Waterloo. I got a lot of followers from it, a bunch of clients from it.
Okay.
I have done collabs with I've had clients that have like multiple million followers that have posted about me, and I've gotten literally zero traction from it.
Wild.
So it doesn't always have to be about the number. It has to be about, do we have an overlap here?
Yeah.
So the types of people that are going to the spa for facials, a facial is a luxury for sure. It's a nice place too. It's not like a dingy place by any means. It's curated. It's thoughtful. It's all the things that I aim to be in my business.
It's a place to take you from a positive to a higher positive. It's not like you're coming in at a -2 and wanting to go to a +2. You're already at probably a +2 and you want to go to a +5 in your life. You know what I mean? It's that level of luxury.
Yeah, you're really quantifying a facial,
I'm trying to do
and
some
I love
math.
that. Yeah.
I've had one in my life, and I think I know everything about it.
Yeah, I think it's not like a I think I understand
It's not
what
a
you're
needed
saying.
thing.
It's not like a massage therapy where you're like, my shoulder is rocked and
Yeah.
I must have a massage. A person that's going to get a facial is probably somebody that has some extra spending money.
Yes.
That
we
really
go.
does value their aesthetic and values how they present themselves out in the world. They really care about their face and their skin and feeling nice and looking nice, right?
Yeah.
And so those same people would probably rather spend a little bit of extra money and find this photographer that also is going to maybe do some more retouching or care more if the weather is bad to reschedule you or whatever those things are that I think I do well. I think that it's important to, when you are looking at vendors, not just trying to find – it's different because you're moving, Callie. You won't have any of the same following with a florist. But if I was to link up with a florist in our local area, I would bet most of the people that are following them are already following me. So that won't be very helpful.
Not beneficial. No.
So for those of you who are listening to this that maybe aren't moving but are interested in doing a collab, just keep that in mind because it may not be the most obvious business that you want to pair up with. And Pure and Simple is a good one because we both genuinely like each other in our businesses, and actually their owner is one of my clients. And I think that, again, going back to the human aspect, of course, social media matters and it's helpful for our businesses, but the more that you can get in front of other business owners and the more that you can create good, karma with them by you go in and if you got a facial, post it on your story. They're probably going to reshare that.
By aligning yourself with the brands of businesses and organizations in your community that you feel like your customer client base will resonate with as well, just elevates you to their level. It puts you on their radar to be like, oh, Lindsay likes facials. I like facials. That's great. Maybe we should connect. Maybe I'll follow her. Oh, she likes a lot of same things I do. She likes Stanley mugs. Amazing.
It's so important to share your personality. It's so weird. Right before this, I was telling Tim, I got to post a quick story because if you guys followed me and if you see this, I hope you do because I really have crushed my social media game the last couple of months and not in a good way.
No.
Not in a good way. So I downloaded this app called Opal because I found myself just endlessly scrolling. Like I was doom scrolling. I would have work to do and I was not doing it. And so I downloaded this app called Opal that is essentially a more aggressive version of like the iPhone locks an app down kind of thing.
Like it's a timer for like monitoring it and making sure that your social media is like under.
It's a productivity thing, so
throttled.
It locks
It's
down. You can choose which apps are distracting for you, and it monitors your time on them and it locks you out.
How's that going for you?
So it's going like too well because I literally will forget to log in, to even open Instagram for days at a time. Which if you followed me, you know that's like very out of the norm for me. So I'm trying to find my way back into it in a way that I'm like, okay, I actually want to post, not just scroll. Like I want to post because that's what I was not doing before. I was just doom scrolling and then I was comparing myself to all the people, all the things we tell you to not do.
All the things you shouldn't
So
do.
I wasn't posting a lot. So now I'm trying to find my way back to posting. Anyways, I'm like, okay, take your own advice. What kinds of things should I be posting about? So you post about who you are, what you do, what you like, and what you're offering. Those are the things that I recommend that people post. If you've taken my course, Better Than Booked, you know that. That's what I generally say is like, if you're trying to think of what should I post on my stories today, post something that shows your personality.
Yes.
Post something about what you do, what you like, and then, your work, right? That's important. And then you have to close. There's no point in just posting about what you're up to that day if you're not going to be like, oh, by the way, I also
have an ask.
You can purchase that from me.
Yeah.
So here I am trying to get some engagement back. And I hope that you're not watching this being like, damn, I fell into her trap. Because if you did, it wasn't a trap. It was just calculated. But I posted about these stupid little, 1 second, Kirkland snack packs that I've been obsessed over. And this is genuine. I'm literally obsessed with these right now because I have been on the go a lot lately driving in my car and they're like an adult
squirrel snack.
It's like a cashews and anyways, trail mix and cheese and whatever.
Delish.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to post something. It's not like it was super calculated. I was just like, I'm literally eating this thing. So I posted that we were going to do this podcast and then I posted about me eating this snack because I know people love Costco and people will engage with that and they will. So by sharing things about yourself that other people like, because it's maybe not super relatable that you're a photographer and you're going to do a family shoot. What is relatable is everybody loves snacks.
Snacks, dude.
Okay, so post the part of your life that's relatable.
Yeah.
Post the part of your life that's going to get some engagement and people are going to be DMing you being like, hey, I also love those Kirkland snack packs. Aren't they the best? Or my Costco doesn't have those anymore. Whatever that might be. And then re-engage with your social network. It just feels a lot more human. So if you see me on the socials being a weird little version of myself, please feel free to send me a DM because I think I killed my Instagram.
Ask her where to get these Kirkland snacks. We all know the answer is Costco. Callie, we hope that this was helpful for you. I know that you wanted something maybe a bit quicker. There's no quick tips in life. There's no shortcuts. Everything you want is on the other side of things you don't want to do. And unfortunately, for all of us,
that's not true.
Everything you really want is on the other side of something you don't want to do. I guarantee it. Everything you really care about.
But I like to do things. So is that...
Everything you want? Well, maybe. Maybe it doesn't apply for all of us, but hard things. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Some of the things that we dislike are on the other side of things that suck.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and it's usually the things outside your comfort zone, which is like, whatever you rise and grind asshole will tell you. But we want you to hopefully take some of the advice you learned from us today. Hopefully some of it's helpful and applicable to you, Callie, and to you listening who's not Callie. Hopefully you take some of these things and like implement them into your life, whether you're moving or standing still,
Please share your feedback. We would love to hear
my
how
God,
this
yeah.
goes for you, Callie.
Please.
Let us know what roadblocks you're hitting as you are meeting new people, as you're finding yourself in your new community. We want to hear about this. So please let us know. And also, please let us know what flavors you start putting into your Diet Coke when you land yourself in Utah. I'm trying to remember. There's a name of a pop store.
Okay.
So we call it Pop, I guess. I know
Like
you guys call it
Minnesotans?
soda, but
Yeah.
like in Canada, we just call it Pop.
Pap.
And then soda is like
The rest of the world.
Yeah, but like also I think that this is right. I hope that this is true, but in Dallas or in Texas, my family lives in Dallas, and they said people will ask for a Coke and they'd be like, "Yeah, what kind?" And I'm like a Coke. People refer to Coke like they refer to like a soda, like a broad spectrum.
So you can't just ask for a Coke.
Yeah, I'm going to go get a Coke. They might mean a Sprite.
But if you're in a restaurant, you ask for a Diet Coke.
They're gonna know it's
Okay.
a Diet Coke then. You
Okay.
know what I mean? But
Can't
if I
just say
said
Coke
like I'm gonna go to
Heavy
the Pop or I'm gonna go to the store and get a Coke, you might mean like a root beer.
Wow.
In Dallas.
Weird.
Anyways, but in Salt Lake City, they have, because most people there they don't drink,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
And they have these like soda stores that it's like every different type of soda. You can get like syrup pumps. These girls on the Mormon Wives, I'm going to show it to you. You're going to love it. They'll get like 6 pumps of vanilla, 3 pumps
That
of,
sounds nice.
of coconut, and 2 pumps of cherry in their Diet Coke. And they walk away, these tiny little
Not really
girls, they're like
diet.
100 pounds with like
With 800 grams of sugar.
37 ounces of, I'm like, I understand what we're doing here. I do get it. They also don't drink coffee. Coffee is another thing that's a no-no
They get
in the Mormon world.
Can they have caffeine through soda? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
That's the good workaround.
Yeah. So coffee is, I
Verboten.
think it's hot drinks.
Okay.
I'm really sharing
Tea?
a lot of
Can't do tea?
misinformation right now.
Kelly, let us
So,
know how off base we are.
If there are any Mormon listeners, know that I am throwing zero shade. I am just kind of obsessed with, like the worst version of your community, which is the Mormon Wives show. I'm sure anybody who's actually Mormon and watches that show, they're like, wow,
This is
we do
horrible.
not accept them. We do not claim them.
Thank you so much for listening. Commenting, subscribing.
Tim's like,
we need to
shut
wrap
up.
this up. I don't want to know.
Callie, thank you so much
Callie,
for
thanks
this.
so much.
And thank you to all of you for listening every single week. It
Yes.
is an absolute pleasure.
If you want to reach out to us, ask us a question, just like Callie did, you can reach out here at the Shoot Your Shot podcast on Instagram. We accept all DMs from all people. Thank you so much for being here. We love you. We'll see you next week. Bye. Bye.